Hello, my name is Putkonen. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm talking about the fiction of nothingness. Within this fiction of nothingness, I include non-existence, emptiness, void, the idea of zero. Because it is purely a concept. In terms of non-duality, Brahman alone exists. Brahman was never born. Brahman will never die. Brahman has no beginning. Brahman has no end. Brahman has no circumference nor center. There is no other to Brahman. Brahman alone exists. And as such, there's always existence. That is Brahman. The existence which is Brahman always has been, is, and will be. And so the idea of non-existence, that there being nothing at all, is a fiction. There will always be Brahman. And so to contemplate or ask questions, I sometimes see this on Nonduality or Advaita forums and different places where people talk about, oh, what happens when it all goes away? Well, that's a focus and fixation on form. Forms change, forms go away. But even scientifically, they say energy cannot be created or destroyed. The forms change, that is all. And so no matter how much the forms come and go, it's the exact same amount of energy at all times. No energy has been created or destroyed. And so even if there was no form, energy would still be there. And so even if you think about the void of space, it's not a void. It's filled with light photons, it's filled with tachyons, it's filled with, it could be filled with dust, it could be filled with any number of things. It is full of energy. I mean, in space, it looks black, it looks void, but as soon as you pull up an object, boom, there is light. And all that really demonstrates is that light has always been there. It just hasn't been able to reflect off of something. So space is full of light. And yet it looks like nothing. And so so many people, when they think of space, they think of that as nothingness, that there's nothing there. But that's wrong. Because that is not nothing. That might get as close as to our idea of nothing can be. But even the void of space is not a nothing. The void of space is full of something. It is. And so there's never an outside of Brahman. You can't say Brahman is, because Brahman is what is. What is not doesn't actually exist. So you can't count what is not as being outside or other than Brahman. But at the same time, you can't say that which doesn't exist, is somehow within Brahman, because it doesn't exist. We got to quit trying to count nothingness as something. We need to delve into this, I think, at least to clearly see that nothingness is purely a concept. I mean, it was sometime after the idea of counting and numbers was created. It was sometime after that the idea of zero came to mind. And from math, that comes handy. I mean, you could, if you had a stack of apples and there's 3 apples, and you keep removing an apple, you remove an apple, you got 2 apples. You remove an apple, you got 1 apple. You remove another apple, you got no apples. Conceptually, that makes a lot of sense. And for math, it's rather expedient. But the concept of nothing there, is purely within the concepts of whatever thing we're fixating on. In that instance, we're fixating on apples. And so when there's no apples in that space, the idea of no apples comes to mind. It's void of apples. It's empty of apples. There's nothing there. But that's only fixating on form and saying this form isn't here. It'd be incorrect to say there's nothing there. There is something there. There's always something there. At a bare minimum, it's always Brahman. There's no place that exists where there isn't Brahman. There's always Brahman. Wherever the eye looks, there's just Brahman. At no place can you look somewhere and go, it's nothing. There's nothingness. It's void. It's empty. It's zero. There's nothing there at all. That is purely a mental fiction we came up with. There's always something there. If you think there's nothing there, you just haven't delved deeply enough. There's something there. There's always something there. Because there's no way for there to be nothing at all. Anyways, this might give you at least something to ponder, to think about. I don't know, it's just kind of, I think I had talked about this similarly somewhere else, and I went, oh yeah, I don't think I made a video about this. So I decided to make one. But I did get a new job recently, so I'm on a contract. And so for one-to-ones, my availability is back to, evenings on the weekdays, anytime on weekends. I'm kind of back to that schedule. So I'm going to be less flexible when it comes to one-on-ones. But if you're interested in scheduling a one-to-one, go to my website, which, nondualitysimplified.com. There's a place to schedule one-to-ones. If you got any questions, comments, please post below. But until next time, thank you much.